Fighting with My Family. Fighting with My Family is the story of Saraya Knight, who is better known in the WWE world as Paige, who's played by Florence Pugh. Saraya comes from a wrestling family who runs their own club in Norwich, England. They live for wrestling. So Saraya and her brother Zach keep sending in the wrestling tapes to the WWE in the hopes of pursuing their dreams, which is to make the big time. One day they get a call and they're given a chance to try out for the WWE. However, things go surprisingly unexpected, and we have our movie. Fighting with My Family is an excellent story about the Knight family, and it's surprisingly deep, with very little downside. It's the story of the underdog or the outcast who is just trying to pursue their dreams in a world where not everybody gets that chance. It's refreshing given that its tone is light with a ton of laughs, but it also knows when to be somber and serious, which is surprisingly effective and never distracting considering that the movie poses some really dark themes at times. There are a lot of risks taken within the movie, and fortunately many of them land nicely. You'll have a ton of fun, learn a little bit about the WWE, and hear a great story about a working class family who's chasing their dreams. Starting off with what I really enjoyed about this movie, the tone here is phenomenal. The movie strikes a nice balance with being a lighthearted film about a working class family, but also explores the hardships of having one. It's about balance, and there are times in life when it's appropriate to have a lot of fun, have a lot of laughs, but there's also times when things have to be worrisome, serious, or even scary. And this movie strikes that balance really, really well, because it creates that tone that ranges from comedic and endearing to tense and really stressful. And it gives the movie unique flavor and variety, which not only makes it really entertaining, but also keeps it from being distracting. It also makes it really realistic. Also, there are a lot of laughs to be had. Fighting with My Family is a surprisingly comedic film. With comedy being one of the harder things to land in film, this movie took on that challenge with grace, because it accomplished being funny without veering the film off course or feeling like a distraction in more serious moments. The comedic banter that the characters had between each other landed really nicely, landed really often, got me to laugh, and got me to laugh at the right moments. And that's what this movie does. It picks its moments, it picks the right moments, and it lands just about all of them with a haymaker. It knew when to make a joke, and it knew when to be very serious, without being too serious. Also, there are some great cast performances. For me, Florence Pugh, Vince Vaughn, and Nick Frost were the standouts in the film, with the remainder of the cast being nice additives. And each actor has their own style and brings it to the performance and just has a lot of fun with it. And that fun is really contagious when an actor can have a lot of fun in the roles and the delivery of their dialogue. That is contagious, and the audience can feel that, and it makes the experience a lot more enjoyable. And the three aforementioned standouts really radiate confidence in the delivery of just about all of their dialogue, which not only elevates the believability of their characters, but also makes the movie themes really easy to pick up on. And speaking of themes, there are some really strong ones in Fighting with My Family. In the synopsis, it comes off like a very typical film with WWE propaganda, but it is so much more than that. It dances with difficult, relatable circumstances and situations that elevate the experience that it provides. Themes around family, pursuing your dreams, persistence, pressure, making your mark and difference in the world, and coping with hardships are all explored effectively and go without making the movie feel too bloated. And the dialogue does a nice job of navigating each of these themes and even is really memorable at some points. They help solidify the messages that the movie's trying to portray, and there's even one line of dialogue in particular that I find myself reflecting on this morning as I'm even shooting this review. Also, there's a really consistent identity in the story. The overarching goal with Fighting with My Family is clear, which is pursuing your dreams. Or in this case, Saraya and Zach's dream of making it to the WWE. However, the movie takes a risk by exploring the perspective of achieving your goals and the perspective of not achieving your goals. And the movie interweaves into those two perspectives and joins them together nicely without making the movie feel disjointed or feel like it's telling two different stories. There's a nice balance of going from one perspective to the other and sometimes joining those perspectives, and the dialogue does a nice job of always keeping the main focus clear. You never feel off-put by the context switching between those two perspectives, which create a nice flow to the story. And lastly, there's very little downside in this movie, and I found this to be surprisingly polished given the fact that it has few issues with pace, few issues with dialogue, and a really adequate runtime for the genre. Those three items could drag down any film, and Fighting with My Family, although doesn't excel in all of those, it doesn't drag down the film by any means. With those three aspects at least hitting the mark, it makes the film a much more digestible and enjoyable experience, because you never really get bored or distracted at all. Now, what did I not like so much about this movie? I thought some of the plot lines were a little too drawn out, or at least reinforced one too many times. One of the characters in the film faces a hardship, and when you face a hardship, you either take it one of two ways. You're very optimistic or you're very pessimistic. And the character chooses one of these, and the movie feels the need to just reinforce that choice over and over and over again, and it just gets dragged out for way too much of the runtime. For one example, at a point, this movie revisits this character at a minimum of 3 times. And at each time, they're still feeling one of those two ways, and it really slows the character growth. You feel like this character is just stuck in that loop and the story isn't progressing. You just feel kind of irritated. It's like, we get it. They feel this way. Can they explore? Can they grow? Can they move on? It just got a little old really quickly. Also, another weird quirk with this film, although Dwayne Johnson is in a lot of the marketing for the film and is even on the cover, he's not in this movie a ton, which isn't really a big deal at all. I just wanted to make you aware of that in case you're looking for a movie all about The Rock. That's not what this movie is. Friends, at the end of the day, I'm gonna have to give this movie an 8 out of 10. It was great, and I highly recommend watching it. Friends, have you seen Fighting with My Family? What'd you think of it? You know where the comment section is. Let me know. Thanks so much for watching another Bankrupt Hippo movie review. If you like this, click right here if you'd like to see more. I've been Bryson. Until next time, have a great day.